All right, if you're just joining us, you are watching Good Morning Kenya. We continue with the program. My name is Mike Migwe. Welcome to yet another fascinating discussion here on this program. And now we talk about matters to do with children, investing in the future of children. And in studio, I'm joined by Kennedy Owino, who is the Principal Children Officer at the National Council for Children Services. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And also Jack Matika, who is a child protection expert, Koinonia community. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Before we even go further, what does it mean to invest in children? Away from investing their future, investing in children. Let me start with you, Bwana Kennedy.
Thank you, Mike, for this opportunity so that we discuss matters of children.
Yes.
There are two aspects of investment in children. There are those that invest for children, and there are those that invest in children. Investing for children means you don't involve them. Yeah? But you are doing it on their behalf, so they walk into it. Investing in children means you are involving them. You are inculcating the values, the norms, the skills that they require to survive into that future. If you invest for their future, it means that it's just like an inheritance, that they don't know the background, they don't know why, they don't know how to handle it. But we are shifting from investing for children to investing in children, working with children in this journey, inculcating the values, the norms, and the principles that they need so that they confront their future with a holistic understanding. Yes.
You know, the World Children's Day is approaching, and among the investments that are considered major, education is one of them. And one person by the name Martin O'Malley said, most valuable investment we can make is to invest in our children's education. When we make education a priority, we give our children an opportunity. Mr. Matika, what do you understand by that?
Well, as thank you, Mike.
Karibu sana.
Yes, just like my counterpart, and who are good partners, that's NCCS to Koinonia community and other organizations. Investing in children, it is something that is not a choice, and especially when you're talking about education. The future of any nation depends on children. And therefore, it is very much important for any country in the world, if they want to see a better nation for that particular country, and then children are key into this. So education is very important. And as I said before, it's not a choice. Everyone, every individuals, the nations must put a lot of resources to ensure children attend their learnings. Yes. And that we are guaranteed the future of our nation.
Yes. From what he's saying, it comes out as a moral imperative that everyone must be involved in this. What makes it so important in this case?
Investing in children is not a one-person soul, not one agency. It has to be multisectoral. It has to be holistic. But again, let us understand, what does education do? Why should we invest in education? Education is not ideally for the purposes of passing an exam or failing an exam. It is to inculcate the values, the skills, the knowledge that you need towards your future. That is the essence of education. Any education that does not promote those aspects that I've talked about is not education per se. And that is why there's a clarion call for the government, for all stakeholders, including the caregivers, including the children themselves. Understand that our Children Act also assigns responsibilities for the children, so that they also understand what is their role in terms of this journey in investment in their education. For example, if a parent is obliged to pay the school fees, and he has done that, it is the responsibility of the child to present himself into the learning institution, take his studies seriously, get that education, get that knowledge, get that skills, so that he moves into the future. So it is a clarion call for all stakeholders, both state and non-state.
Non-state.
Yes, including the caregivers and the children themselves.
Yes.
Yes.
But also, investing in children does not just only mean investing in only their education. Yeah. There is as you have put, there's more the values that you inculcate into students. But also, on the other hand, there's some sense of discrimination when it comes to how a children behaves. You see, there's a way that children are termed as misfits. How do we stem out this discrimination and prejudices and ensure that kids grow in an environment that allows them to be themselves?
Thank you, Mike. I agree with you that investing in children is not only in education. And that's why it's called about holistic investment in children. It's not only education, it is healthcare. When I talk about healthcare, I'm even talking about the mental health.
Yeah.
And I agree to your observation that certain children have been termed as misfits in society. This is a social branding kind of theory. And you know, those are some of the theories that actually explains behavior. You behave in a certain way because you are branded to be that. So, to move away from that, we need to understand how do children communicate from that child of a day-old child to that of, you know, up to 18 years. They communicate differently at various stages. So that is why we as a government, under the coordination of NCCS, the National Council for Children's Services, hold a platform whereby we understand the way, and if we don't understand and listen to them, we might not really help them. So it calls for the aspect of the skills, the knowledge and the values to understand actually what are these children. When you walk into a room and the child starts crying, what's that child telling you? When you walk into your house after work and the child runs to you, what's that child telling you? If the child runs to you, the child is telling you, hey, welcome, I'm missing you, I need something. So it is even involving aspect of investing quality time with your children, aspect of investing in positive parenting, so that we don't just go from the aspect of saying, we provide. You know, that's what most parents will tell you. They'll tell you, I provide everything, I pay school fees, I provide for their meals, I pay rent. That is not all the children need. The children need you to have equal and adequate time with them, which is quality, so that you can also listen to them and understand how to respond to them through providing of guidance to them.
Mr. Matika, the aspect of positive parenting has been mentioned, but also you look at the dynamics sometimes. It's like parents have relegated parenting aspect to the teachers. What are the dangers involved in this?
Thank you, Bana Mike. I want to basically go back to the spirit of our Constitution. The Article 53 of our Constitutions articulates very well.
Yeah.
And we all look at, when we are talking about negligence, we are talking about all sorts of abuses. If you go to the Article 27 of our Constitutions, you talked about, we are talking about discriminations. Where does all this happen? Our constitutions articulate and already has given us a framework on how we need to protect those children. And just as my counterpart has said before I answered your question, I think it is much more that the country need to put more energy on that kind of aspect. Looking at already the existing constitutions, how can we promote and enhance already what is existing? We should not be talking about children being discriminated and they are being violated. Their rights are being violated. I think that is, as a nation, we need not to be talking about this. We need to be seeing actions whenever there's any violation of a child's right, discrimination, and then there is a need of agencies to act promptly. Now, getting back to your question about parenting, that many of I'll talk of 90% of families or parents, they have dedicated the responsibility to the teachers. But my friend Mike, I want to tell you that the first person who is responsible on the issue of a child belongs to the states. A child belongs to the state. And what that does tells you, we need to have a proper mechanisms in schools. We are not saying that the parents has no obligation. They have no responsibility. But the school should also play a very protagonist role to ensure that when the children are in school, they are taught good morals, you know. And we don't have places where children are in schools and children see teachers smoking, and then you go to the class and then you tell children, do not smoke. You are doing ironical. It is also, just like my counterpart said, it is the role of all stakeholders. Yes, we have seen parents have dedicated most responsibility to the teachers, and they have less time with their children. That brings problems, because as a parent, you need to be very close to this particular child and then try to give good morals so that he or she is able to grow in an environment where he or she knows what is right and what is wrong. If they did, because if you go to the school, of course, there are so many children. Teachers will not handle every individual.
Yes.
So it is in order that parents have neglected their responsibility, and it's the right time that they have now to go back and ensure they work hand in hand with the teachers, and beside the teachers and the parents, the society has an obligation also. When the society look at, you meet a child on the road who is supposed to be going to school, and you say, it's not my child. My child is in school. It is, as he said, it's a collective responsibility. If we have children that basically we need to educate and invest in and have a good future, and then everyone has an obligation, yes, to protect the right of the
What he's saying is something we were talking of about the approach that we use in when we are addressing the young ones. If you say, for instance, he's doing something wrong, and you go tell them this is wrong, and you do not provide explanations. But this generation now requires information. Talk about more the approach, because we are, in as far as we are investing in their future from a materialistic point of view, values also matter. The approach.
Thank you, Mike. I agree with what Matika is saying in regards to parenting in school, which is the responsibility of the teachers, and also parenting at home. One thing you'll appreciate is the fact that children, even in a family setup, do not have the same needs. They don't behave the same way. I want you to look at that and also take, let's have a look at the classroom or the school environment, where you are expected to behave the same way. You are expected to abide with the same rules. And it is kind of more of universal approach. That brings me to the aspect that each child is unique in his own way. In his own way of understanding, his own way of manifestation, and in the child's own way of approach to issues. And that's why parenting, from the parent's perspective and the community perspective, plays a key role, because you have time to understand the unique approach to each and every child. And I agree with you that what matters here is the approach. If a child does something wrong, and then you tell him that is wrong, and you leave it at that level, basically that's the school environment. Don't be late. If you are late, you are punished. Do they even have understanding of why did this child come to school late? So the kind of generation, the kind of children we are parenting today are children that are well informed. Yes, to some extent even better than the parents, better than the caregivers.
Yes.
So there is need to have a platform of sharing, digging deep to understand why did this child behave in this kind of way, and what is the best approach that I can have in handling this child. And sometimes by just creating that environment of discussion, having the child to believe on the aspect that there is somebody who is listening to me.
Yes.
There is somebody who is not ready to condemn me unless he understands and is ready to help me walk the journey. Then that is the approach we are saying that should be calculated from the parents and also the teachers. But again, let us also question, in terms of the teachers' training, are they equipped with the necessary skills? Remember, there was even a push in this country that each school is supposed to have a trained counselor, a child therapist. So somebody will also question that, are all the parents child therapists? They might not be trained child therapists, but they require the basic skills to help them understand the child. And that is why the ministry, the government, all stakeholders are brought on board to have the necessary skills, basic, to understand the child, to create a platform whereby you reason with the child before you condemn the child, so that you help this child understand why this thing is wrong. If somebody tells you your phone is wrong to use a phone, he might be right, but why in that context? So you need to understand from what reasoning perspective does it come from, so that also the children are not necessarily merely condemned, but they are also understanding why certain actions or certain behaviors needs to be changed.
It also points to the aspect of where giving the children a chance to express themselves and make their emotions and opinions known. Do you agree with that?
I totally agree, and with the spirit of our constitutions. And I also want to just acknowledge the good work that the NCCS has been doing. And they have been in a position to organize workshops for different institutions, the schools, and also putting frameworks emphasizing more on the issue of child participation in everything that adults. Now, this is not a moment or generations where you want to tell them do and don't. So the NCCS encourage everyone to ensure that children are brought to participations. Whatever you want to give them, you want them to do, engage them so that they are in a position also to share the opinion.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about the aspect of mental support for children, but we'll do that once we are back from this short break. Don't go too far.
Technology has become a crucial part of our society. Without technological advancements, so much of our everyday lives would be drastically different. As technology develops, it strives to fulfill the changing needs of society. This means that technology exists to help us achieve the things that we wouldn't be able to achieve without it. Take on Tech looks at the advantages and downside of technological innovation in a world that is becoming increasingly dependent on new digital technologies. Every Monday at 10:30 p.m.
Wewe ni nani na unataka nini?
Ama kweli hapo kwa kujua mengi hujakosea, lakini kuna mambo mengine huyajui, hautakuja kuyajua na wala hauna budi kuyajua mpaka na hata kuyasikia mpaka pengine labda ukifa.
Felista, unabahati kuwa mimi ni mtu mpole na sipendi mshike. Leo hii kichwa chako na kiwiliwili ningehakikisha vimetengana.
Wewe ya kisi.
Atu chapati sitakagi mtu angalie, sitakataa kuiba.
Ulienda shule kusomea kupika chapati.
Ameitisa chakula inaitwa fitish. Karibu customer.
Mimi ni mbuzi.
Hii ni tabia gani unajaribu kufanya?
Ongeri. No, emake. Wacha hasira.
Wewe.
Dae bwana.
Nimekungua no.
Unakaa umesibu ndio kula nini tena?
Unachua anasema, anasema usiposiba ukuta unaisia ukingoni.
Ndio mimi nawachianga watu tape. I'm a very big taper.
Yeah.
You can keep the change.
10.
Yeah, 10.
10 bob.
10 shillings.
Welcome back. We are glad you're tuned in to Good Morning Kenya here on KBC Channel 1. You're watching Transformative Leaders, where we are talking about investing in the future of our children. Kennedy Owino and Jack Matika are helping me in this conversation. But before we went on a break, we were talking about the mental aspect of children. How does mental health now contribute to the success of children?
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Issue of mental health is a real thorny issue in matters of children.
Yes.
Because not only children, everybody, only human beings, unless you are stable mentally, you can't deliver. Mm-hmm. And that is why there is a special recognition on the role that mental stability or mental wellness in children plays in the future. So what does it mean? We are moving from a generation where we are saying children are there to be seen and not to be heard. And we are not only hearing the children when we listen to their verbal communication. We also need to listen to what is going on in their mind. Children are saying, if it is for us, without us, it is not ours. But children are also traumatized as they go through certain challenges of life, just like adults. So there is a deliberate move by the government and all stakeholders to have a specific focus on the issues of mental health on children. The way that a child of 1 to maybe 3 years express themselves is different. I mean, you can't go to that child and ask the child, tell me what's the problem with you. They express themselves very well in terms of play and art therapy. So that is why there is training. The training itself is packed in a way that it helps you to retrieve what is in the mind of the child. If you walk into your house today and you get your child taking a dull doll, maybe black in color, punching that doll, what does this child tells you? If you start getting a child who, every time this child interacts with her doll, the child is pinching, punching, this is a child that has definitely gone through physical abuse. And because of a displacement mechanism, he cannot pinch the adult, he pinches the dolls.
Yes.
So that is an aspect of helping you to understand the aspect of mental health of children. But your question was, how is it important in terms of the success of children?
Yeah.
Children need to be stable in terms of mind. The investment must not only go from the aspect of saying, oh, we have provided, we have a good classroom, we have qualified teachers, but you don't understand what goes into the mind of these children. Certain children just need a mindset. They just need to be emotionally stable to perform in a classroom. Here is a person that is pushing the child to perform, but does not understand the underlying issues. Maybe this child has gone through the trauma. Recently, we had floods in this country. Children went through trauma, have their emotions be addressed, the issues of mental health, so that we bring them back to normal. And you know, the memory of a child is different from the memory of an adult.
Yes.
You can easily forget. A child will not easily forget.
Yes.
So we need to understand that aspect and see what programs do we have in place to address the issues of mental health for children so that they are fit, let me use that term, so that they are fit to be modeled, to be impacted in terms of knowledge and skills into their future. So that is how important issues of mental health is. Yes. You have seen a number of children committing suicide. So somebody would wonder, why would a 3-year-old go and hang himself? And we also need to be privy at this point that issues of mental health does not only contribute to the aspect of children having gone trauma, even the use of technology. What are they interacting with in the internet? There are this very funny competition, like, the person who suffocates for the long time is a hero. So the child tries to be a hero by just suffocating himself. And then the child dies. So these are the issues we are talking about. So the parents need to understand that it is more from what we are seeing the children, but we need to go beyond, because these children interact with phones, these children interact with neighbors, these children interact with fellow children, even globally. Yes.
You know, we talk about that, but in a way it also narrows down to the role of parents in all this. Talk about that, and also you talk about the benefit of having social protection programs for children.
Okay, thank you, Bana Mike. I still want to go back when you're talking about what framework do you have when you talk about health. If you look at the regulation that basically has been brought and should be active, my counterpart can confirm it was done by NCCS.
Yes.
And in these regulations, children regulations, is basically speak more on the health issues of the children, mental health, and how it can be handled. I want to say that parent has no choice. They have no choice, but they have an obligation to ensure that the mental health issues of their children are well. They have to invest in that.
Yes.
They have to invest as much as the national government and other state departments come up with all these frameworks, and then they have a role to play as parents. Because as he said, we have the issue of children are traumatized in various ways when they are at home, when they are playing. Maybe their words, even their families use, the biological parents. And these words, their abusive language, either you look like your mom, you know, you behave like your dad, you know. Those are words that remains in these children. And then later on, they are traumatized, they get traumatized. And if they are not treated, handled at this stage, and then you'll find these children, even socially, they will not social well in the society. And even when it comes to performance, you know, they will always drag behind. So it is important to put mental health for children as a key to every household in Kenya. If we dream to achieve the UNCRC, you know, dream as a nation, and then as he said, the NCCS, the national government, the county government, they have an obligation. But here, wait a bit, they are also families. Families has to play their part. The parents has to ensure that the mental health of their children are well taken care of. And when you do so, and then we'll have a nation, we have a nation that is mindfulness, full of mindfulness, because we believe that when we invest in these children, as he said, not only education, but we have areas like the mental health. Once you deal with that, we are guaranteed a nation that is very mindful. Yes.
You know, the aspect of devolution must come up in all this because all stakeholders have to be involved, the national government, county governments, and even maybe non-governmental organizations. But to you, why should devolution work to ensure that the children and youth are catered for? Why is devolution necessary for this to work?
Thank you, Mike, for that question. Actually, it is one of the areas of high consideration and of value to children. The aspect or the place of devolution in matters of children. Somebody will say that children matters are not devolved, which is a fact. But look here, where's that child? That child belongs into a certain village, to a certain ward, to a certain constituency, to a certain county. Before you become a Kenyan, you belong somewhere.
Yeah.
And that is within the confines of the counties. And that is why when we were doing the review of the Children Act 2001, the legislation came out deliberately in Section 61 and Section 62 of the Children Act Cap 141 of the Kenyan law to have specific roles to the county governments. And what is catchy in those provisions is the aspect that county governments are expected to develop county-specific policies to establish child welfare schemes for the promotion of the well-being of children.
Yes.
Every right comes with a responsibility.
Yeah.
And as we fulfill children's rights, we are promoting their welfare. So if the legislation is talking about county government having a responsibility to establish child welfare schemes, we need to unpack this. Because in my opinion, most of the welfare schemes are actually devolved. If we are saying that children need to have potable water, simply clean and safe drinking water, whose responsibilities is that? If children need to have nutrition adequate nutrition, that is basically agriculture. That is default function. If children need to develop their talents and skills, in terms of talents and skills development, again, it goes to county government. If these children need a playground, that is county government. If children need to be free from what we call child mortality, you know, that is the responsibility of the government. Immunizations, vaccinations, provisions of adequate shelter, a conducive environment. These are the functions of a decentralized government as much as they are also coordinated by the national government. Therefore, we are proud to say that under the guidance of the council, a number of counties have accepted this provision and have come up with county-specific children policies. Kakamega, talk of Nyamira, talk of Homa Bay, talk of Muranga is launching theirs on 20th, as we'll be celebrating the World Children's Day. I know there are deliberate efforts in Kirinyaga, in Meru, they started the other day. So this is actually where we want all governments, all county governments to move in, so that they understand that there is a key role that the devolution and the centralized governments are playing in terms of fulfilling children's rights. Yes.
Mr. Matika, from where you stand, do you think there is more investment needed in this aspect in terms of policy framework for children?
That at the county level. Thank you, Mike. I think just like what my counterpart has said, I want to believe that the county government need to do more. He echoed quite a number of some counties, but I want to be very frank with the nation that the work that the county government of Murang'a has done on the issue of children is really a good job. And the county, this matter of health has to be involved, has to be in every country, you know. And the children policy, every county has an obligation to ensure the rights of children are very much well articulated. They should not leave it to the national government. Because you find many a times people want to talk about the national government, the state, and all these kind of things. I think every county need to be held responsible. They have to develop policies that are protecting the rights of children. Yes, so I totally agree with you. Much need to be done, and this is at the county level. If we talk about Nairobi and NCCS, of course they have really made a lot of tremendous, very good job coming up with the policies and national policies. And I think it is at county levels now to work very close and ensure they're implementing what the NCCS has been basically coming up with to ensure that children are protected in this nation. And we invest in that.
Still, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, maybe Mike, let me add why county children policies are very key. You realize that counties are coming from very different cultural backgrounds.
Yeah.
The issues affecting Turkana might not be the issues affecting Homa Bay, might not be the issues affecting Nairobi, might not be the issues affecting other county. So you understand that if you go to a specific county, they have a specific child protection concern. For example, if you go to Western Kenya, issues of incest, children who are born of incest, who are perceived to be outcast, is a real issue. So yes, as much as we can have a policy national to deal with that, but it's a presenting issue to Kakamega, to Vihiga, to Busia, and to Bungoma. So are they coming up with specific policies to address that? We are in a country where still currently as we are talking, certain communities believe that by giving birth to twins, that is a caste. Yeah? By giving birth to a child who is living disability, that child is supposed to be thrown out to the forest, maybe for the hyenas to feed on. These are the things we are saying that counties must come with county-specific legislations that are addressing the specific needs and issues affecting children in their areas of jurisdiction. Then that is why we have to invest heavily on county-specific child protection legislations so that their welfare, because again, if they don't have a legal framework, even investing and allocating resources will be challenged. Because remember, If you want to invest in maybe issues of protecting children born out of incest in Kakamega, the first question they'll be asking you, which legislative framework is this based on? It is based on any law. Yeah? So that's the first battle you have with the assembly.
Yes.
So, but if you have a legal framework, then it is going to be very easy for that particular county to even have each of children in the county integration development plans, CIDPs.
Yes. Now, if you're talking investing about in the future of children, the matters of opportunity have to come up. And Mwana Matika, from where you stand, how can we close the gap in terms of opportunities, especially for children, say from disadvantaged backgrounds?
Yes, when you talk about, thank you, Mike. When you talk about children that are disadvantaged from basic, I'll basically look at the street homeless families. Then let's talk about the children with the disabilities. You know, I think that much need to be done because when we talk about investing in children, we need to holistically talk about all children. And we have quite a number of children, you know, that are not in school. There was a statistic that was done in the world that talking about 125 million children, you know, in the world that are not in school. And you'll find that a percentage of that are children that are in Kenya, you know. And we have children that are living in the streets that are basically need to be given also a voice. And of course, there are departments like the Street Rehabilitation Trust Fund. That is one of the state departments that are playing a role to ensure that those innocent children get out of the street. But they need to do much more. They need to work with the other organizations, come up with good policies, framework that can help to bring those innocent children that are living in the street of Nairobi. Because they are children that we believe if we also invest in them, they will bring a good development in this nation. And then beside that, also the issue of disability. You know, disability, we say disability is not inability. They are able differently. And so these people also, we need policies that I know through the NCCS, they have done tremendous also work, but just to ensure that we have also policies that are protecting those vulnerables, you know, and so that they also people invest in, the government of Kenya invest in them, and the society also invest in them. If their parents have them, they should not be afraid to say, I have a child who's living with this state. They should be free to bring them out and also invest in them, because we believe if they are given also education, their future will be bright, and they will be part and parcel on nation development.
Yes.
Yes.
Allow me to add something on the opportunities.
Okay.
And I'll approach it from the deliberate measures that the government has put in place that the stakeholders and the public need to take as an opportunity to safeguard children from less vulnerable communities. One, there's a social protection bill that is just to enhance social protection structures that takes care of these vulnerable children and other vulnerable families. So this is a legislation that is going to provide a robust premises upon which societies and families of which are vulnerable in one way or another can be supported by the government. Currently, you know, recently the government did upscaling, and we are happy that the government is committing to even having that number multiplied times 5 in terms of social protection. The government has also established a number of institutions to take care of the vulnerable. He has talked about Street Rehabilitation Trust Fund. A trust fund established to take care of the plight of the number of street families, the plight of street families. When it comes to issues of disability, the government has established a whole council, the National Council for Persons with Disability, just to look at the issues of disability. And there's also other programs that the government is coming up with to present an opportunity from which these families can be supported. Look at even the basic provisions of the Children Act, which is saying that children living with disability or children with disability are entitled to free medication. entitled to free health care. These are legal frameworks from which we can build and see what kind of programs can we design to support these vulnerable groups, so that we provide opportunity for all children, regardless of their background and their status.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, Mr. Matika,
Yes.
The World Children's Day is coming in 2 days' time, and the theme is investing in our future means investing in our children. Why is that the theme important?
The theme is very important. The theme is very important in this aspect. If we invest in our children, and then we are sure of a generation that are confident in themselves. You're talking about participation, involving the children when you are you want to do anything else.
Yeah.
So that bring on participations. And I think this is very important, and it comes at the right time, where it's a call to every country, every nation, that they should understand holistically we have to invest on education, medical, and all other developments of our children, to ensure that we have a country, that has a future, a country that will have a good leader, because we believe that the children are the leader of tomorrow. So if we invest in them, I tell you, we have a nation, a prospering nation.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Kennedy, where is the World Children's Day being celebrated in?
Where?
Where is it happening?
It is happening in Muranga. And before I talk about that, allow me to also add to why is investing in children, investing in our future. In every institution, in every aspect of life, there is succession management.
Yes.
Those people who founded KBC are not there today.
Yeah.
But we are also living to the fact that at one point, whether we'll be living in this country, will not be the leaders. So, if you want to know how Kenya will be in the next 50 years, is how we treat our children today, to paraphrase what Mandela said.
Yes.
So, if we don't invest in our children today, then we are having no future. The kind of investment we are giving to our children today is the kind of the future that we are going to have as a country.
Yes.
And that is why on 20th, that is on Wednesday, we are rallying all stakeholders in the children's sector, parents, caregivers, and children, and all actors to Muranga, so that we celebrate. And as we celebrate, we are not only celebrating the World Children's Day. The children are also going to take us to task, to tell them what we have done to them as a country. So it is not only a question of celebrating the day, but it's also a question of having interaction with the children, so that we help them understand what is their assessment. Mike, that's where we are.
Yes.
Where children are also putting us to task and asking us, where are we? The government, you are to do this. Where have you done? What have you done? So we are also going to showcase what we have done to the children in this country in terms of investment in them, investment in healthcare, investment in education, investment in terms of mental health, investment even into their protection. This is the kind of discourse we are going to have into Muranga, and we welcome people across the globe to come and celebrate with us. And why Muranga? Because I know that's another question that you're likely heading to. Why Muranga? Like he has said, that Muranga has done a good job. Even when we are not having the child protection policy, they have realized the importance of investing in children. And they are going to launch the child protection policy. Not only Muranga, but also other countries. But again, we couldn't choose all the counties together. But we have said that let's move to Muranga as they launch their children policy, which is aligning with that date, so that we also showcase what we have done as a country and what also Muranga as a county has done. And His Excellency, the Governor, will be there, and we are expecting our CS, His Excellency, Honorable Alfred Mutua, to be with us as we celebrate with the children.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for making time to come on Good Morning Kenya and talk about these matters in such a time as this. That is Kennedy, Mesao Gina.
Owino.
But still, this is a very timely thing that needs to happen now, because we are dealing with a generation that is way too knowledgeable, and they are too they have information, but they need guidance.
Yes.
But if we are talking about investing in their future, the investment needs to be holistic and needs to be done as early as now. This is where we end this conversation that is happening here on Good Morning Kenya. We have been talking to Jack Matika, who is a children's protection officer, and also Kennedy Owino, who is from the National Commission on
Council.
Yes.
On Children's Services.
This is where we end this conversation. My name is Mike Migwi. Continue watching KBC Channel 1.